basically review the original bond proposals. You remember we were ready to put something on the ballot in November. Then with the closing of Sienna Heights, we made a decision to pause, to hold on and analyze and get some more information on that. So I'm going to review what that original bond proposal was, review the why of that proposal, how we got there and why we thought it was something important for our district and our community. And then I want to talk a little bit about why we are now at a point where we're looking at, couldn't we add a community pool to this proposal and some of the numbers behind that and the reasons behind that, and see if that is even feasible. And ultimately, we're going to collect some feedback and get your questions. If there's questions we can answer tonight, I hope to do that. If there's questions I can't answer tonight, we will get back with you on what those are. The idea was to do that and put people in small groups. I got a feedback form with this number of people. We may just change that a little bit, but still give you time to process and use that feedback form to do it. As we look at our strategic plans for the district, we have strategic plans behind academics, behind the arts, behind athletics, and the most recent one we put together was a facilities strategic plan. Holy
Caress me. Anthony. That's why I played center and not receiver.
Oh. So, our goal is to make our kids leaders in academics, the arts, and athletics. And for all of those areas, we provide opportunities for kids both in the classroom and out of the classroom to excel and have opportunities to develop those skills. There's a strategic plan behind all of these. The lesson plan is a strategic plan for academics. For the arts, it's the playbill. And for the athletics, it is the game plan. We had those three in place. The next thing we wanted to do was put together a strategic plan for facilities. And part of that process was a survey out to our community, out to our parents about, we asked them a lot of different things, but these are the ones I'm going to highlight for the sake of this presentation. And we asked them in terms of space and functionality, what areas of the school do you feel are most lacking? Good news and kudos to our maintenance and facilities department. 45% of the people said they didn't have any major concerns. Right after that, at 18% was recreational spaces. We hear that a lot. We need more space. We also asked the question, if the district could add one major facility in the next 5 to 10 years, what would you like to see? 41% said STEM labs. I'll come back to that, but we are in the process of putting STEM labs in the elementary buildings. And the next one was, the next highest one, if we could do one space, was additional athletic and recreational spaces. Part of that was also some open-ended questions, some feedback. List any facilities you think need immediate attention. List any facilities you think the district should consider adding. Please use the space to tell us anything else you'd like us to know about facilities and wants. The top three in those, as we put all that information together. Playgrounds, number one. Number two came in at athletic and recreational spaces for facilities. The district has budgeted money to address some of those playgrounds and needs at each elementary school. Playgrounds are really expensive. Obviously, we don't have exactly what we wanted, but we made it a point in the budgeting process to make sure we put some in for the playgrounds because they really hadn't been touched in a while. STEM labs being the number one up there. We are in the process of putting a STEM lab in each of our elementary schools. During the 2016 bomb, Spring Middle School got some awesome STEM spaces. Adrian High School has some awesome spaces. Some of that with the help of the Adrian Educational Foundation as well. But our secondary level had great spaces for STEM. Our elementary did not. People identified that, and thanks to a generous gift from the Mooley family of $100,000, the district is matching that gift. The Educational Foundation is raising some more money. Starting in January, we'll start refitting some of our space around our libraries in those elementary schools so that we have those STEM labs as well. The next piece, again, was that additional recreational spaces. And this, again, was the original proposal. We looked at a lot of different things. We had some of these community forums. We engaged people, and we came to this would probably be the best location to put the facility. So some of this driven from that survey we did about facilities, but also, talking about the why of an indoor community recreational facility from the school end. And I'm not going to read everything on this list, but I will start at the bottom of this list. As we looked at what other school districts had, the opportunities students had in other school districts, many districts are now building. Many districts now have these for their students. And we started asking, why not Adrian? If other districts can do this, other communities can do this, why would we not go down this path to do this for our kids, for our students? We know we need additional space. Right now is crunch time, and Chad and I meeting with him today talking about how he's trying to finagle his schedule so everybody's got a spot in there. We've added the rec department. That's a big piece of it too, the growth of those rec programs. This slide shows how the rec programs have gained numbers over the years and continue to do so. As we add programming, we need space to continue to do that. You can see a lot of the other things, additional space for practice. We talked about cheer practice, on-site practice site for tennis courts. Our girls tennis team had 30-some kids last year. We go to Adrian College for that. That's great for practice. It's great to compete. You're fighting for that space all the time. This facility wouldn't have a competition space, but it would have a space where they could practice on the inside. A lot of those kids want to get better. I talked to a tennis parents through this. They got to go down to Toledo to find a spot where they can work in the off season to train. This would offer another opportunity for a space for that. That's just one of them. Off season workouts for all sports, additional fitness conditioning space. In all caps there, you see year-round opportunities for all of our students. As we have these conversations, we know many communities, some people in our community can afford to pay the high-dollar travel fees. In my opinion, it's always been, it's not so much the games and competitions that are the advantage. It's the fact that you typically have somewhere to go to train in the off-season. When it's cold outside, you have somewhere to go inside, and you get all that additional training. That is one of the biggest benefits of that travel sports. And, as we know, we have our communities, our school, 65 to 70% free and reduced lunch rate. We have high poverty. Many of our students can't afford that. Why not Adrian? Why not, if we could do something so that all of the kids in our community can have those same advantages and have a place to train in the off season and come in? That, I think, is one of the biggest aspects of that. And again, we as Adrian Maples, we want to be at the top of everything, and we're doing great things with that. As we look at other communities that have these indoor spaces and have these additional facilities and how that raises them to the next level, why not Adrian? That's what we continue to ask ourselves. From the community, obviously, affordable spot for community health and wellness. We know many in the community can or don't get out to the Y, or the center may be out of reach financially. We know we have a high diabetes rate in the community. We know e-bite is over on the east side right now, primarily because of the health indicators. When ProMedica looked at, where were the highest health indicators, 49221 was one of the leading spots. That's why that whole e-bite program is here, for people to have some health and wellness at an affordable rate. An indoor walking track is something we've continued to hear time and over again, that there's nowhere to walk in the wintertime. We need an indoor walking court. Pickleball. The city did a great job of putting pickleball courts out at Heritage Park. Obviously, once winter hits, people are lined up at, that there is some of the Piotr Center, but that's limited, and at some other places as well. So this would be an additional spot for that to happen in the winter. I talked about students in tennis. We've had adults talk about needing the space for tennis. Recreation opportunities. You want to skip down, the economic impact. Other communities that do these, you're able to host tournaments. The more people we bring into the Adrian, the better. That whole idea of placemaking. What makes Adrian a place that more people want to live, that they want to come and work here and live here. And this is something that we believe a facility like this says something about a community that provides our opportunities and benefits for a community where people want to come here and live here and bring their kids here to go to school here. So it's good for the community, it's good for the schools, it's good for the schools, it's good for the community. I've always believed that. Back to where this would have been located. This is Adrian High School, obviously our existing gym, the PAC. This is that old gravel lot right now. That's how it used to be the tennis courts. Whoops, it's touchscreen. Alongside the pool. So this does take up that parking lot behind the high school, but we gain all that back by putting parking there, and that gravel lot's just kind of an eyesore right now anyway. So that would be the location. Somebody asked the other day, would they come in off Sheffield Street? It is not designed that way. We don't want that to be the main thoroughfare. People would enter from here and then here. They're not coming in off Sheffield. And I have had some conversations with the people in Linden who live in those houses regarding this idea and this concept. So I appreciate their feedback on this as well. But that would be the location. What would it look like on the inside? We would have 3 additional basketball courts. This is 60 yards of turf that could be used for a lot of different things. This is the track right here. It's slightly bigger. If you know Adrian College, their blue gym, that track in there, that is slightly bigger than that track. That's a decent sized track, and this is a little bit bigger than that. So definitely useful for walking, and you can run on it. This section is the entrance, a secure entrance, locker rooms, a common area, a fitness center, and storage. And I got a slide that shows that in a little bit better detail. This you're able to see, the fitness center, 3,000 square feet, 2 locker rooms, secure entrance and vestibule. Here's the common area. Parents, kids could be playing on the court, so they could be in this common area. There'd be Wi-Fi and that kind of stuff. And everywhere we go, they say make sure you put enough storage, because that's what everybody seems to leave out. So there's storage there. That was what it looked like in the original proposal. Is some of those slides. So when would the community be able to use it? Okay, and again, these are proposals right now, and obviously to do that, we've got to cover our cost and those types of things. But our kids are in school from 7 to 3. Our kids aren't going to be in it during those times. Now, is a gym class going to use it maybe, or a dance player or something like that? Possibly. But we really feel that 8 to 2 slot is when the community could use it. That's a lot of pickleball, a lot of track, those kind of things. We would then need it from 2 to 6. A lot of times in the year, there might be some times here we don't need it, and it would be open for most times. But for 2 to 6 is basically when our kids would need it. We need it for our rep programs, for our programs. And then again, is it 6 to 9? Is it 5 to 7? Whatever those are, it could be open again for the community to use. Would it be by reservation or appointment, or wouldn't we just stack it to that? But those are, we know, and it's important to us that if we're going to do this and people are paying taxes to help us build this, they need to have access to it as well. And those are the times, that 8 to 2 slot, we do need it from that 2 to 6 or whatever it is. And then after that, there would be opportunities for the community to use it as well. Proposed Saturday from 2 to 6. If we were having tournaments or we're running our rec stuff, we do that in the morning times. Once that's over, it could be open again for the community to use. And just because we got a basketball tournament going on doesn't mean the track isn't still open for people to use and walk on, or the fitness center wouldn't be open for people to walk on. Sunday, we're looking at 5 hours. I got that early bird opportunities because that people ask that just about every time we talk about this. Some people like to get up and do their workout before they go to work. Is that 6 a.m.? Is it 5 a.m.? Could we work out early bird opportunities for that as well? And we think we could. What would it cost to build something like this? Again, this was the original proposal, and this was back, this was back, would have been in May, June when we were putting this together for a November ballot. So, but it was, looking like 25 to 27 million, operational cost of $300,000 to $350,000 annually. 0.75 mils over 2 years would raise that amount of money. And you can see if your home's valued at $200,000, those are what you would pay additionally in tax. And $75 per year increase over what you're paying now, $625 per month, or 21 cents per day. Again, that was the original proposal. This would have been the ballot language right here. For the purpose of a RECU, furnishing and equipping a community recreational facility, partially remodeling, furnishing and refurnishing and equipping, re-equipping. Adrian Heisfer, the language they put it here, sometimes it drags on, but that would have been the November ballot proposal. And as you know, we decided to pause because Siena Heights made their announcement, and we wanted some more time to analyze and see if there were opportunities or avenues there. We have been in communication with them at this point. They're still not at that point where they can say whether or not what the opportunities may or may not be. We have a deadline of December 16th to get this to the state for May elections. So we're back in front of you talking about what the original proposal was and could a fool become part of this conversation. I put this line up here because I just think it's important to know where we stand in terms of our debt millage, our bonded debt for the District of Adrian. 7 mils is it's a cap. You could go above 7 mils, but then they get more expensive and it gets more complicated if you're going to go above 7. So most districts are 7 or below. Some go up to 8. As you can see, after the 2016 bond, which was the last time we went to voters, we were right up at 7. So we were leveraged basically. But as you can see, we are now under 5 mils. That's a factor of obviously the property values going up. So we have to levy fewer mills in order to collect that money. So we're now at 5, adding a 0.75 proposal still keeps us below 6. So we're not maxing it back out again. We're not leveraged. And just knowing that it's important to know in 2034, we retire the 2004 debt. So those mills fall off and then we'll be back under 4. If we did this now, this would be on the same schedule as the 2016 bond, which is a 30-year bond. And then when we get to 2046, both this one and the 2016 bond would retire. So it puts the district in a good spot strategically for having that debt retired periodically. And we're not leveraged at the 7 mils. That is somewhat of a cap. Now, a proposal with the pool. And again, this is the conversation we've had when the city announced that they were not going to be able to open it again because of the ongoing maintenance. And, it's a 50-year-old pool. There's stuff. The conversation started about, okay, we're looking at a bond for an indoor recreational facility. Could we add a pool to that and have it part of the same bond? Conversation with Chad Ball of the city, and I appreciate his work. He's brand new, and he was willing to engage in these conversations and talk through some things. We both knew in order to put this on the proposal, school bond dollars would build it, but the city would have to agree to operate and maintain, because that's a cost of the school district could not take on responsibly. So the city would have to do that, and obviously they've been operating and maintaining bone pools, so it would be part of their budget. I realize the slides are kind of small, but we looked at 2 different spots. One being right here at the Boys and Girls Club. Okay, the school district owns that property, and there's some synergy of having it here on the east side as they look at who's using the pool in the summer. There's a lot of overlap between Boys and Girls Club kids and people using both pools. So you can see it's here. That would require adding a pool building for locker rooms. There's a splash pad here. There's a slide. Essentially, it's a 6-lane pool. It's about the size of our high school pool, which is, yes, that's much smaller than what Bone Pool is right now. But to do this within the cost range that we feel comfortable going to voters for, it would have to be smaller. And I'm going to have those numbers very soon of what each proposal will look like. There is some concern that's just going to be too expensive. And the reason this is the same pool and set up with a splash pad, but the reason this is less is because you would use the same locker rooms. You don't have to do the additional locker rooms. You got the same parking. You're not adding parking. You're running utilities already, electric and all that kind of stuff. So you only have to do it once rather than twice to the one at the club. So anyway, we're going to get those. We'll have those numbers very soon and look what those are going to look like. And that may determine where this facility is best put. But that's part of the feedback, from the community as we look at where would it be best. I mean, there's advantages to both of them. However, we know that one at the club will be much more expensive. So we will see where those numbers come in. To get to adding a pool to this proposal, the original proposal was 0.75. We are saying if we went up to 0.95 mils, it's still under 1. That would get us $35 million, which we think at one of those sites we could add a pool with that as well. And again, same math. If your home has a value of $200,000, that means you would have a $95 per year increase to your taxes, $8 a month, and that would 0.95. As we kind of look through this, to do more than 0.95. We did not think that was the right thing to do because so much more would be going to the pool complex and it's a school buses. So, but getting up to 0.95, we think $35 million, we could still do the facility and potentially the pool as well. And again, this is one of the main questions I get, who's maintaining and operating the pool? That would have to be the city of Adrian. The district would not be able to do that. This is just one other brainstorm. This was a different site for this facility, a much reduced site that has just a turf field, 2 basketball courts, no locker rooms, no track or anything like that. Would that, if we trimmed it down that much, give us enough to go with this concept right here? The main thing I like about that is there's no trap. The location isn't as good. A lot of those things. We get just trying to work through the process to see what are the different ways we could get, if there really is that support for a community pool and we can come to some kind of agreement. And yeah, it's been a pretty rapid timeline. But sometimes you got to see if there's an opportunity there, if there is. Who can vote on these? And there's been some confusion around these. Okay, so obviously the city of Adrian is who would be operating and maintaining the pool. However, the school district of Adrian is much larger than just the city. You got all the townships, and the city of Adrian and Adrian Township are the majority of our students. However, all of these other counties, some of their residents are Adrian Public Schools, so they would pay this tax as well. Now, these bottom ones, it's very minimal, but there are some people who may live there who are in the Adrian Public Schools district. John's smiling back there because he's seen this map before, but how this school district map is drawn, it's not just ours, it's all of them are like that. But there has been some confusion around that, the polling that happened. Well, somebody in the township got called. Why did they get called there? Well, people in the township are school district taxpayers, so they will be voting in this election. It's not just the city of Adrian. So that's important to remember as well, is that, majority of Adrian Township, not all, and there's some little slivers of maybe Blissfield maybe or Madison, but the majority. And then as you go down that list, fewer and fewer percentage of those people are voters. What would be the cost? We want to keep it very affordable. People are paying taxes for this. However, we are going to have some operational and maintenance costs. We got to charge something for it. We looked at market rate for another facility, market rate number 2, 816 and 900. We're looking at asking $150 for a family for a year-long membership. A, they are paying taxes. But B, we have to be able to operate and maintain the indoor facility, and we'll have some staffing costs as well. So we got to charge something. We're trying to keep it very affordable. And just like we do in our rec programs, there's somebody that just can't do it, we're going to find a way to make it happy for them. We don't turn anyone away from those rec programs. The expenses we're looking at in this, our pro forma, and we really did some work to put this pro forma together. Dan led that, Dan Finney, our CFO, in, not just guessing, but he reached out to other similar facilities to see what their cost was and what they were spending on it. And this is where we come up with that $333,000 number. Obviously, a big part of that is staffing costs to make sure we're maintaining it and operating it. But we put together the revenue side as well, and this isn't the whole thing. Definitely, if you want more details on that, Dan will be happy to sit down with you. But these are just a few examples to show, again, we're not just guessing. We're putting real numbers to it. We already do a rec volleyball program we've done the last 2 years. We know those are the numbers we get with that program. We've done My Way wrestling tournaments. Those are real numbers for that. We know that's the kind of revenue. And do we do 1 or 2 of those?
Oh, they're 2 in one day.
There you go. Okay.
One in the morning, and we're going to do it all over again.
So essentially 1 weekend, we know what we're making if we had to do that multiple weekends. Anyway, we know we got to be smart about how are we going to have enough revenue to cover those costs. Additional revenue opportunities. So we put real numbers to this, looking at some modeling. And essentially, we're confident that what we can raise in revenue will cover that additional cost.